Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The Day of Reckoning card 6 heavyweight fights, and of those 6, this one, Jarrell Miller, Daniel Dubois, is the most fascinating to me. It is seemingly the best matched. It's basically a 50-50 fight. On paper, there's lots to like about this, and both guys have a lot to prove. Because on one side, you've got Daniel Dubois, who's just coming off a failed title attempt against Alexander Usyk. He considers himself unlucky due to the low blow incident that occurred, but also at the end of that fight, he appeared to quit. He went pretty meekly in the end, and also we know earlier in his career when he stepped up, first tough fight against Joe Joyce, he ended up taking the knee in that one due to an eye injury. So you've got this question about the heart of Daniel Dubois. If the going gets tough, will Daniel Dubois get going? Will he quit again? And he's against a guy in Jarrell Miller who's this big, immovable object. He's weighed in at a whopping 333 pounds. And Miller's got this backstory which involves all these failed drug tests. Not just from one incident, but 3 different across his fighting career. Most recently, there was meant to be a fight against Carlos Takam, failed. That's a couple of years ago now, actually, I should say. But he's been making his way back. Most famously, you had that failed multiple tests against Anthony Joshua ahead of what would have been a fight that would have got him millions of dollars. But he threw it all away because he injected the needle. And he literally did. And this is one of the things that's been most curious for me in this lead up to this fight. Miller's been trying to recast himself as somehow unlucky. That Eddie Hearn, his former promoter, basically threw him under the bus and didn't sort of support him, didn't give him the same sort of support that he has the likes of Conor Benn, for example. Miller's tried to play the victim card, make out like he was hard done by. At the end of the day, he was caught, he was dead to rights over those drug tests. There was actually 2 injectable substances. One was EPO, the other HGH, which Miller later claimed was from a medical procedure for an elbow injury. Sounds pretty suspicious if you ask me. Another substance, he didn't basically come up with an explanation for a year or so, and then ended up saying that he needed a bit of lead in his flaccid pencil. So make of that what you will. So there's this whole sort of backstory which he's been trying to rewrite, reinvent himself, and make out that he's hard done by. But I have to say, he is a character, and he's been making this build-up, especially in Fight Week, quite entertaining. You know, coming across Daniel Dubois in the lobby of the hotel, putting it on him, different times where he's made comments. He pushed Daniel Dubois at the weigh-in. He's been trying to really get under his skin. And seemingly he has at times. And Dubois, you know, I don't know, is it a mistake if Dubois is coming in angry? I mean, we'll have to see. I guess an angry Daniel Dubois could be a dangerous Daniel Dubois. But it sort of comes down to one of 2 scenarios. You're going to have Daniel Dubois, who's a big puncher, either taking lumps out of Jarrell Miller, which we have to assume that Miller is clean. There's been multiple tests that have been done for VADA testing ahead of this fight, and Miller has seemingly passed all the tests, at least the ones that he's posted about publicly. He put a post up saying, was it 5 tests in 7 days or whatever it was? Apparently it's news that he's passing a test, but that really should be the bare minimum. But I digress. In terms of Daniel Dubois, if he can't hurt him and put a dent in him, could be a long night, because if he's wailing away on all 333 pounds of Miller and he can't move him, put a dent, put him down, put him out, then Miller may start with the way that he likes to fight, which is effectively coming forward, pressuring his opponent, and then throwing a lot of volume. It could be a long night for Daniel Dubois. It could be a situation where some of the opponents for Miller in previous fights have succumbed to it, the pressure, and some of them have actually quit on their stool. You've got a case of like Gerald Washington, for example, quit. So Miller is saying he's going to make Daniel Dubois quit. He's going to prove that he is a quitter. He's been teasing him that he's a quitter, and he's going to show the world that he is a quitter. And I guess if Miller is off the juice, which we have to obviously assume that he is, well, fingers crossed, I guess, for any further tests, before or after the fight. But in terms of Miller, if he's able to be anything like he was a few years ago, with how he used to fight, it's got to be a hard night for Daniel Dubois if Dubois can't hurt him. But if Daniel Dubois goes in there and starts landing those vicious body shots and punches to the head that can take something out of Miller, well, Miller, who knows what's left? A clean Miller, someone who's off the juice, and obviously if he's getting sort of pounded upon by a big puncher, well, it could be over early. We just don't know. But I would say based on what we've seen in terms of Miller, the way he's looking, some of his other recent fights, he's still got a chin. So this is what makes it so difficult to call, because Daniel Dubois is a bigger puncher than some of the other guys that he's faced, albeit Miller did face Lucas Browne not so long ago, a very washed and faded version of Lucas Browne, but he was eating some of those big shots. But Miller doesn't have a huge punch of his own, so he is going to have to really try to tuck up, let his hands go, and not take too many big shots from Daniel Dubois, because even though you've got a good chin, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to eat them on the chin, and then ultimately, like his mate Adam Kovnatsky found out that if you try to do that, sometimes your chin will get cracked, as Kovnatsky's was against Robert Helenius, and he hasn't been the same since then. Is this the moment that Miller's chin gets cracked? I don't know. But it's been entertaining this fight week. It's a fight that we didn't really know we needed, but I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to this one. What do you make of it? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.